The U.S. leading economic indicators have plunged for the 29th month in a row. It's worse than COVID lockdowns. And right now, the Democratic National Convention kicking off in Chicago, where you will have Democrats and Kamala Harris trying to distance themselves from Bidenomics, pretending that they had nothing to do with the last 3.5 years of government policies, which have gotten us here. Skyrocketing inflation, of course, prices up over 20% for just about everything in your family, from gas prices, of course, to food on your table, to rent, to electricity, to energy costs. It's been a disaster, but they're telling you that, hey, when Kamala Harris is elected president, all of that will go away. Right? But she's in power now, so it really doesn't make much sense. Right now, we're also swimming in massive amounts of credit card debt. And the United States, average Americans right now have used up almost all of their savings. Really, really troubling. On top of all of that, the Federal Reserve is meeting right now in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, to discuss inflation, to discuss interest rates being slashed. So a lot of economic news that we want to sift through today right now on the economy. And for that, someone who's deeply plugged into what's happening with the U.S. dollar, what's happening with inflation, what's happening with precious metals, and all of it is Kevin DeMeritt. He is the CEO of Lear Capital, and he joins us. Great to check in with you, Kevin. Great to see you here on the show.
Yeah, great to be on the show, Clayton.
Well, you're here at an interesting time because tonight, Monday, we've got the DNC kicking off. We've got Jackson Hole, Wyoming, with the Fed meeting right now on the recession and inflationary numbers. But I just wanted to get your take on Kamala Harris, because unbelievable sort of bombshell this past week when she comes out and announces that she's going to, when she's elected president, price controls, like communist era price controls, is what she's going to employ to get these companies from stop charging you so much money when you go to the grocery store. What did you think initially when you heard this?
It absolutely has to be the dumbest idea I've ever heard. I mean, you just have to crack open a history book and you can go back and look at every country who's ever tried it, and it doesn't work. And it doesn't work because you're controlling one part of the price equation, which is the top price, the price you and I pay for goods and services. So if I stop companies being able to increase their prices, but their cost of goods continue to increase, then at some point they don't make any money, they go out of business. Or like we saw in the 70s, the government comes to their senses and says, oh my gosh, we can't continue this price controls because everybody's going to go out of business. So we're going to stop the price controls. And then what happens? Prices go completely out of control because now they have to make up for the lost ground to stay in business, and prices just skyrocketed. In the 70s, we had inflation up around 15%. So this is just an incredibly stupid idea that's not going to work. It's going to make matters much, much worse.